in is called Bravo Figaro, and it lasts about an hour, which is the length of time of a normal person's bladder retention. The only thing I have to tell you before we start the story of Bravo Figaro is this: I will be doing some acting, and I apologise in advance. I'm very sorry about it. Normally, you'll tell when I'm acting because we often get professional actors who come and see the show, and you'll know when I'm acting because you'll hear them go. That would be the clue. But if you're all ready, you all right?
Yeah.
You're okay? Yeah. No, I'm just checking you've got everything out of your pockets. Are you ready? I don't want you to miss a thing.
From my earmaster.
You know. No, because I'd make it a point of principle with working with mixed ability heteros. Don't judge you. Support him. If we're all ready. Are we all right in the box? The story starts with the sound of my dad breathing. What did you think to the event?
It's smashing. Very brilliant.
It's brilliant.
What did you enjoy about it?
I don't think he can express himself.
Did you recognise any of the tunes?
No more than that.
Eh?
Recognise all of them.
You recognise all of them? Oh, that was good there, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Let's put this down.
This is what my mum and dad sound like. And this conversation was recorded about a year ago. But I'm going to start the story slightly nearer the beginning. I've been a performer for 27 years. I started in 1985. This was a time when comics and mimes, ranters and poets, circus artists, musical artists, cabaret artists, performance artists, the leftovers of left-wing theatre companies, the Manchester University Drama Department and the Ladbroke Grove countercultural squatting scene collided to form alternative cabaret. Now back then you could go and see any combination of acts in rooms above pubs. So you might go along and your first act could be a low wire act. Your second act could be a squeeze box orchestra. Your third act could be a performance artist trying to melt a large block of ice in 20 minutes using only his body heat as a homage to the myth of Sisyphus. My favourite comic performer back then was a man called Bob Boyd. First time I saw him 27 years ago, walks on stage, he's got a really sharp suit and he's got loads of rings on his fingers and a couple of them are sovereigns. So about a third of the audience go, oh, I think he's a character comic. Bob was the McCoy. Walks on stage holding the mic out at right angles club style. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Bob Boynton. I'm a communist. Now, a lot of my comrades in the party, Marxists, Leninists, they like to tell me that football, ladies and gentlemen, is a proletarian sport. Football is a proletarian sport. I say bollocks. Proletarian sport, motor racing, ladies and gentlemen. Motor racing is a proletarian sport. Few quid to get in, few beers with your mates, nice sunny day. If you're lucky, you watch some rich fucker burn to death. That was his opening gag. And I adored it, because you were either on the bus and going all the way with Bob, or you're walking out the room in disgust at that very moment. Now back then, rightly or wrongly, I believe that alternative comedy was involved in a cultural war. We were fighting we were fighting the light entertainment wing of racism and sexism. We were attacking all the comics who made their living by mocking gays and the disabled and immigrants. And I was watching Little Britain the other night and realised we lost that war quite badly. I think our tactical error was taking on the conservative reactionary right head on, but leaving our flank exposed to postmodernism. Now, back then, we would attack the illegal. We would attack the intolerant. We would attack the bigots. And there was no greater bigot than my dad. Some of the music was from Tosca. Do you remember going to see Tosca?
Yeah.
Do you remember where?
Take that away from your mouth, darling. Then they can hear you. Where did you go to see Tosca? Was it at Covent Garden?
That's right, Covent Garden.
Eh?
That's right, Covent Garden.
You saw it at Covent Garden.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, 45 years ago, sir.
My dad's name is Colin Alec Todd Thomas, and I was born in the shadow of a genuine character. We used to say my dad looked like Moses with a hangover, but not to his face. When his beard went white with age, we said he looked like Santa with syphilis, but that was for variety. My dad was a self-employed builder, a Methodist lay preacher, and the rudest man in South London, therefore Europe. He was a man who was happy with his contradictions. Now, I like contradictions, I like hypocrisy, and not just because of the exposure of it in others pays for my mortgage. I like hypocrisy because it makes us interesting. All the people I've met with the unity of thought, word and action have been the dullest fuckers to walk this planet. And actually the difference between who we are and who we want to be is what makes us human. Now, my dad, he was a religious man. He was a righteous man. He could quote you books of the Bible backwards. But to watch him swear was to watch a man shoot a thesaurus from the sky. My dad swore like a jazz bebop player, improvising around a common theme or tune, which was normally fuck us or bust us, fuck us or fuck us or, but essentially he was Cleo Lane with Tourette's. I'll get a royalty for that gag here. Colin Alec Todd Thomas was quick with his fists, and he was over 50 before he lost his first fight and came home with blood on his shirt. Every year, there was a period of time where he would get bound over to keep up the peace. So he would do something stupid, get into trouble, get bound over, get to the end of the band, do something stupid, and he would start again. One year, with, do you remember the Moonies, religious cult, big in the 70s? My dad had a theological dispute with the Moonies, which was resolved in a very Old Testament fashion. Now, we live next door to a Salvation Army captain, who for some reason liked my dad. And when he heard that my dad had been arrested and was going to court, he turned up. Would you like me to be a character witness for you, Colin? Well, that'd be very handy, thank you. Would you like me to wear the full Salvation Army captain's uniform when I give this character testament for you? That wouldn't hurt. In court, my dad's charged with assault. We've got a Salvation Army captain in full uniform standing there. I have known Colin Thomas for many years. He is a hard-working man. He is a family man. He is a community man. He is a religious man. We were all sitting there going, I wish I knew this bloke. He sounds fucking great. My dad left school with no qualifications whatsoever. And I know that sounds really cliche, but you should try doing it. It's much harder than you think. He did 4 years apprenticeship, carpentry and joinery, and went on to become a self-employed builder. And I promise you, everything had to be done the hard way. Every fucking thing. If a cabinet was to be made, it had to be made the way they've made it for the past 200 fucking years. Everything was made to last. That ark was made for me by my dad when I was a 1-year-old child. That ark is 43 years old. 50 years old, but it could play 43. The point being was everything had to be done the difficult way. So if a load was to be carried on a building site, my dad had to carry the heaviest load. Something was to be moved up a ladder, he had to move fastest. When we were kids, my dad put his hand through a buzzsaw. Some people said it was an accident. I think it was showing off. It's like giving the other builders in the area a head start on his genius by lopping off a couple of fingers.
Okay.
Sorry, this is my younger brother Matthew. I did an interview with him, separate from my mum and dad. The emphasis with Matthew? Younger.
Okay.
You found his fingers when you were cleaning up the sawdust.
I found his fingers.
And what did you do with them?
I think I actually found quite a considerable bit of one finger and then the tip of another one. I just put them in the cigar box and took them up to mum.
You gave mum dad's fingers in a cigar box. When it comes to Mother's Day, Clinton's cannot compete with a family gift. All of you will have got family stories, all of you. And some of them will be true, some of them will be exaggerated, some of them will be mythologised. One of ours that was probably true is that my dad was probably dyslexic. He was never tested, so he might have just been illiterate, but he probably was dyslexic. Whatever the case, my mum would check every single piece of paperwork that came out of the office. Because on more than one occasion, customers were offered 15% discount. Now, if you are in the market for disco cunt, it tends to be 100% or nothing. So the offer had no validity. Now, there's 4 kids in the family. Mark the eldest, Matthew the youngest, my 2 sisters, Elizabeth and Ruth, all good biblical names. My dad rarely took us on holiday, but the one holiday he took us to, a canal holiday to the Coventry Basin. 6 people on a narrow boat in the Coventry Basin. At the time, Coventry, heavily industrialised area. For the younger members of the audience, industry. We used to make shit, it was great. Anyway, the byproduct was pollution, so the canals were full with oil and grime. One afternoon, my dad is in full Captain Hornblower reverie, charting his way through the black and dark and narrow waters, leaning against the back rail, tiller in his hand when he hears this sound. It is his wallet falling out of his back pocket. Now, we don't have credit cards at the time, so my dad turns around and sees all the family holiday money floating out in banknotes across the black water. His instant reaction, grabbed my sister Ruth, who is 8, and goes, "Boom! Get the money!" She's swimming through the water, and we're all going, "We want to go, we want to go!" So we all jump in. Whole family swimming towards the money when a dead dog floats past in the opposite direction. Happy days. But that was my dad's attitude towards most things, I think. Get the money. Let me ask you, would you call yourselves opera fans?
Yes.
Oh, I suppose so. We like opera.
Was it full of many people like you?
Right.
Many builders go?
I think so.
Surely that put you off.
Right.
My dad was imbued with a work ethic that went beyond mere Protestant. He worked 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and on Sundays he did the paperwork and the scrap metal. There was no such thing as too much work because work defined him. He was Thatcherite before she came along. You work hard, you look after your family, everyone else, back off. His work defined our lives. He would arrive home every evening at 6:30.
Yeah, I mean, he finished work at 6:30, he was generally in about, 7?
I stand corrected. He would arrive home at 7 o'clock, pulling up in a comma van.
I remember.
I'm telling the story, he pulled up at 7 o'clock in a fucking comma van. The sound of the van was our cue to go out and unload it. You get the rubbish, you put it on the skip. You get the scrap, you put it by the side. You get the wood, you shoot it down and sell a door for chopping up later. Then my dad would go inside and put his hand in a large tub of swarfever, a green industrial jelly-like soap. He would turn it black with the grime of the day, rinse them, join them, and our father it all the way through to tea. Then you chop the wood and stack it, and chores are done. Now my dad would have his bath in the morning, meaning he was clean for work. Thus spending the evening dirty and in his work clothes, as a romantic gesture to my mum. If he wanted to watch the telly, he was always terrified that he would get the grime of his work trousers onto his favourite leather armchair. So what he'd do, walk into the living room, switch on the telly, unbuckle his belt, drop his trousers, sit in the armchair in his long johns with his trousers around his ankles, laughing at Steptoe and Son. For the younger members of the audience, Steptoe and Son is a sitcom about a father and a son trapped in a relationship of mutual embarrassment and misunderstanding. Anyway, if anyone came round to visit my family, once the telly had gone on, friend or neighbour, they would hear 2 sounds. And then they'd hear my dad go, "Better put my fucking trousers on."